Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to be able to present the views of ETRMA and the tyre industry with regards to the sustainability and the circularity of tyres. As Emmanuel said, I'm still very new to the industry, very new to ETRMA, so please be gentle in the question and answer session later, but I really look forward to engaging with everyone today to learn more about this fascinating industry and to learn how we can work together to promote both the circularity and the sustainability of the tyre. Just a few words about ETRMA. I think most of you obviously know the organisation. We are the voice of the European tyre and rubber industry. We represent the industry towards policymakers, decision makers. We really work to promote the goals of better regulation, the use of evidence-based and science-based policy making, ensuring that we have a appropriate regulatory environment to ensure both the sustainability and the competitiveness of the industry. We also work to promote and ensure both road and consumer safety with our products. We seek to care for the environment and the broader sustainability of our world. And we also promote international cooperation, working with partners from around the world. Just a few words about the tyre manufacturing industry in Europe. And again, I'm sure many of you know this, but we are a significant contributor both economically and socially. The industry is currently employing in excess of 300,000 people directly and many more indirectly. We have a turnover of in excess of 60 billion euro and are continually investing in both manufacturing but also research, innovation facilities here in Europe. And we also are exporting significant amounts of materials to other parts of the world. Turning on to the tyre itself, and I think Paul already mentioned the complexity of the tyre. This is something that new to the industry that I have been very much educated by our members about, that I continue to learn about. The tyre is the only part of the vehicle that actually touches the road. It is the bit that connects the car, the road, and the driver in all conditions, in all weathers as well. Road safety is the priority for the industry. Having said that, we also acknowledge that we have a lot of environmental requirements on us. What we do need to remember with the tyre, that it is ultimately a compromise, that we have to make sure that we are balancing the different performances, that we are making sure that the additions in one area are not having negative impacts from another area of the tyre. And this is really very much the focus of the R&D efforts within the industry. In terms of where we see the future development and how we see the tyre progressing, ETRMA, as an organisation, our members have committed to deliver on a number of different areas. Firstly, on climate change and CO2 reduction through significantly improving the rolling resistance of tyres, improving road safety with new levels of wet grip performances, including at the worn stage, focusing on the circular economy, efforts to increase the performance over the lifetime of the tyre. And we are now also working and committing to reducing particulate emissions from tyre abrasion. As many of you know, the proposals under the Euro 7 regulation from the European Commission do propose to ultimately implement tyre abrasion limits, and this is something that the industry is very much committed to. We are currently working on a test methodology at the UN level to allow us to set these limits. But what we will say is that legislative action can have a significant impact and can have quite a quick impact on the tyre industry to promote sustainability, to promote circularity. Including all tyres into legislation can also have an immediate impact. For example, within Euro 7, ETRMA and its members are calling for the limits to be placed on all tyres, not just those going onto Euro 7 vehicles. And we can also see changes to the market can also have a significant impact. For example, moving to the market towards a Class C for rolling resistance will have the impact of significantly reducing carbon emissions, equivalent to around 1 million vehicles. This can be approved using existing legislation and regulation. Turning to tyre recycling, turning to end-of-life tyre collection, I think over the last 30 years we have seen significant developments in through the use of extended producer responsibility schemes and end-of-life tyre management systems. And we see this in most member states. Even in those countries where we do have a free market system, we are seeing significant amounts of collection and recycling of tyres. This change over the last 20, 30 years has led to significant increase in both the collection and recycling of end-of-life tyres. Today, we see around 95% of tyres end-of-life tyres are being collected. And of those uses, around 56% is going into material recycling. A further 39, nearly 40% is through energy recovery, and then other applications such as civil engineering. As we mentioned, 95% of end-of-life tyres have been treated based on our latest data. In terms of the sustainable use of end-of-life tyres and what the tyre industry is working towards and would like to see, and as we start to talk about policy this morning, we do support tyre recycling being as high as possible in the waste hierarchy. This in turn will support both material recovery of tyres, the turning of end-of-life tyres into new products such as rubberized asphalt, concrete, moulded products and more. And we'll also, this is also the most profitable use with significant growth opportunity. We also see continued possibilities in tyre-derived fuel application, but also emerging technologies such as devulcanization, pyrolysis to really promote the use of chemical recycling, and we are looking at how we can further promote this application. And then finally, looking at the retreading of tyres, continuing to use tyres as their original function with some retreading, particularly in the truck and bus segment. Just a word on the retreading in the truck and bus segment. This market has remained relatively stable for the last 5 years or so. We see that the market for retreading sales has increased by around 10%. This is not following the general market trend. Around 22% of replacement sales in the truck and bus segment are for retreaded tyres. This is something that has remained incredibly stable for the last 5 years. And we're really calling on the Commission to bring forward the proposed tyre label for retreaded tyres, which would allow consumers and purchasers to understand better that market, and we believe this will help promote and drive that market. It is worth recalling from a tyre perspective that many of the performances and many of the objectives we're talking around under eco-design and the new ESPR proposals are already covered under existing regulation for tyres. The reliability of the product is already covered through the type approval regulation. Through the tyre label regulation, we are already communicating the tyre performances to the consumer. We are engaging on the remanufacturing through the retreading of truck and bus tyres. We do have an effective system for recovering materials through the EPR schemes. The environmental impacts of the use of tyres is already being controlled and limited through rolling resistance and noise, and the forthcoming regulation on tyre abrasion. And industry is also developing the digital product passport through the General Data Service Organization is now developing a standard methodology, a standard way for that data exchange, for the data to come from the tyre. So many things that we are already doing. As we look at ESPR, we have to sort of see where the marginal benefits, the marginal gains will come from. So in conclusion, what does the industry need? What will we call for to continue to support the development of new materials and the use of recycled materials? We would argue to recognise the end of waste status for ELT-derived material. We would like to see the development of a framework to further support the uptake of bio-based alternative and bio-based synthetic polymers. And we would also like to see a framework to support the use of renewed and recycled material. We also call on the Commission to bring forward delegated legislation to move forward with the retreading label for truck and bus tyres, and use that to support activities through green public procurement to support the reuse of the materials, and also use the ESPR as a framework to really promote the reuse of casings and making sure that they're not immediately considered as waste. Ultimately, we need to take a holistic view towards looking at the sustainability and the circularity of tyres. We need to remember the range of performances that the tyre is responsible for, but also understand that the industry is looking continually to innovate, continually to find new and innovative materials and solutions to further the sustainability and the circularity of the tyre. With that, I thank you. Really looking forward to the discussions this morning, and I'm open to any questions when we have the discussions. Thank you.